Some of these stories sound unreal, but every one of them actually happened. And number 9 isn't an accident, a crime, or a disaster. It's something far quieter and far more unsettling. Let's begin. Number 1. When grief turned into an addiction. After her husband Sean died suddenly from an asthma attack, a Tennessee woman named Casey developed an extreme grief response. She began carrying his urn everywhere, sleeping beside it, and speaking to it as if he were still alive. When some ashes accidentally spilled onto her hand, she instinctively licked them off, triggering a compulsion to consume them deliberately. Casey started eating the ashes up to 5 times a day, describing the taste as sand mixed with rotten eggs. She said it made her feel close to her husband and feared that stopping meant losing him forever. Over time, she consumed nearly a pound of his remains. Her behavior was revealed on the American TV show My Strange Addiction, after which she entered therapy, stopped eating the ashes, and kept the urn only as a memorial. Number 2. The body farm that let humans rot on purpose. To understand how long a body has been dead, forensic scientists needed real data, not theories. So in Tennessee, researchers created a facility where donated human bodies are left to decompose naturally. Some are buried, some are exposed, others are submerged or caged. Every stage of decay is carefully documented, helping investigators estimate time of death and locate hidden graves. It's one of the only places in the world where human decomposition is deliberately studied in the open. Number 3. The man who killed his family. Twice. In 1991, Gregory Green stabbed his pregnant wife to death and was sentenced to prison. After serving 16 years, he was released, remarried, and started a new family in Michigan with the daughter of a pastor who had helped him gain parole. For a short time, it appeared he had rebuilt his life. But in 2016, the violence returned, on an even more horrifying scale. Green tied up his wife in their basement, then shot her 2 children from a previous relationship. He then poisoned and suffocated his 2 young daughters, ages 4 and 5. When police arrived, they found the children dead, and his wife bound and bleeding. Green calmly surrendered and told officers, "I just killed my family." He later pleaded guilty to 4 counts of murder and received a 100-year prison sentence, ensuring he will never be released. The case is often cited as one of the most chilling examples of repeat domestic homicide in modern American history. Number 4. Inside the eye of a hurricane. Extremely rare footage shows a pilot flying directly into the eye of a powerful hurricane. The eye only forms when a storm becomes highly organized, creating a calm, circular center where air sinks instead of rising. While the surrounding eye wall is filled with violent winds, heavy rain, and extreme turbulence, the eye itself can be eerily still, sometimes even allowing sunlight to break through. Very few pilots have ever experienced this from the inside, and even fewer have captured it on video. The footage offers a haunting contrast between total chaos and sudden calm, revealing what lies at the center of one of nature's most destructive forces. Number 5. The lake that preserves the dead. In northern Tanzania lies Lake Natron, a lake so alkaline it does the opposite of what nature usually does. Instead of breaking dead animals down, it preserves them. The water is rich in sodium carbonate, with a pH so high it can burn skin and eyes. Birds that mistake the lake for a safe place to land can die within minutes. When they fall into the water, their bodies begin to harden, slowly preserved by the lake's chemistry. What's left behind is deeply unsettling. Animals locked in lifelike poses. Wings spread, heads raised, almost like stone statues. Number 6. The 2004 Indian Ocean Tsunami. When the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami struck, it wasn't just the wave that moved across the ocean. Underwater microphones recorded a powerful low-frequency sound traveling faster than the tsunami itself. This acoustic signal came from the sudden movement of the seafloor and spread thousands of kilometers ahead of the destruction. It's considered one of the loudest natural sounds ever recorded, a warning that arrived before the disaster. Number 7. The bodies Pompeii left behind. When Mount Vesuvius erupted, Pompeii wasn't buried by lava. It was buried by ash. The eruption smothered the city in layers of fine volcanic debris, sealing everything in place. Over time, the bodies of the people trapped inside decomposed, leaving hollow spaces in the hardened ash where they had once been. Centuries later, archaeologists discovered these voids by accident. When they poured plaster into them, the shapes of the dead reappeared, not as skeletons, but as exact human forms frozen in their final moments. Faces twisted in pain, hands raised to shield themselves, clothing folds pressed into the ash. The bodies were gone, but the space they left behind remained. Number 8. The prison where time stopped. Eastern State Penitentiary was once celebrated as a model of modern punishment, a place built to reform through isolation. Today, it's abandoned, and much of it was never reset. When inmates died, cells were sealed and left behind. Clocks stopped and were never restarted. Personal items still sit where they were last touched, inside rooms now crumbling under decades of neglect. Beds rusted in place. Shoes, letters, and everyday objects slowly disappearing into dust. Nothing here was staged for history. The prison simply decayed around what was left behind. What remains is a physical record of isolation, punishment, and lives that ended behind locked doors. Number 9. The forest growing around the dead. At the base of Mount Fuji lies Aokigahara Forest, known not just for its reputation, but for how the land itself behaves. Tree roots here rarely grow deep. Instead, they spread across the surface, twisting and tangling above the ground in unnatural patterns. Part of this comes from the volcanic soil. It's thin and difficult to penetrate. But researchers believe there's another reason. When roots encounter buried remains, they divert, growing outward instead of down. Over time, the forest adapts around what lies beneath it. Number 10. The town that's been burning for centuries. Centralia, Pennsylvania has been burning underground since 1962. That year, a coal seam fire ignited beneath the town, spreading through abandoned mine tunnels and settling deep into the earth. Unlike a surface fire, it couldn't be extinguished. There was no way to reach it, and no way to starve it of fuel. As the fire grew, toxic gases seeped up through the ground and into homes. Roads began to crack and collapse as the earth beneath them weakened. Carbon monoxide filled basements. Residents were slowly forced to leave as the town became unsafe to inhabit. Over time, streets were abandoned and buildings torn down. Even the dead were moved, with graves relocated as the land became unstable. Today, Centralia is nearly empty, while the fire beneath it continues to burn. Experts believe it could smolder underground for centuries, long after the town itself has disappeared. Number 11. When grain turns into a trap. In 2016, a worker in Illinois was inside a grain bin while corn was being unloaded beneath him. As the auger started, the surface of the grain began to flow downward, behaving like liquid instead of solid ground. Within seconds, the worker was pulled waist deep. In less than a minute, he was completely engulfed. The force of the moving grain was so strong that co-workers outside the bin couldn't pull him free, even while holding onto him. Emergency crews later explained that once grain is flowing, it can pull a full-grown adult under faster than they can react. The pressure around the chest becomes so intense that breathing is impossible. By the time the flow stops, it's often already fatal. Number 12. When a dead whale explodes. In November 1970, a 45-foot sperm whale washed ashore near Florence, already dead and rapidly bloating as gases built up inside its body. Local officials decided the fastest way to remove it was with explosives. They placed half a ton of dynamite beneath the carcass, expecting the blast to disintegrate it. Instead, the explosion sent massive chunks of rotting whale hundreds of meters through the air. Footage shows spectators running as blubber rained down on the beach. One large piece crushed a parked car. The whale itself wasn't destroyed. Most of it remained intact, just spread farther apart. The incident became one of the most infamous disposal failures ever recorded, and a graphic example of what happens when a body that large fills with pressure. Number 13. The bridge that collapsed without warning. In August 2018, the Morandi Bridge in Genoa, Italy, collapsed in the middle of the day during a rainstorm. There was no earthquake, explosion, or warning. The structure simply failed. CCTV and dashcam footage captured the moment the bridge gave way, with cars and trucks plunging nearly 45 meters into the void below. Entire sections of reinforced concrete folded inward, disappearing in seconds. Investigators later determined that internal cable corrosion had been weakening the bridge for years, hidden inside the concrete. From the outside, it looked stable. Inside, it was already failing. 43 people were killed. If these facts stuck with you, there's more waiting. Click one of our other videos and keep going.